What's poppin', Popcorn Perspective? This is your host Jay and AK. Today we're gonna go over House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 6, The Smallfolk. AK, what was your thought on that episode?
It should have been combined with last week's. They just had like a hour, 20-minute long episode with last week's and this week's content mixed in one. I feel like it would have been a lot better episode. I felt like this was a drag. I'll be honest.
My thoughts exactly. The last episode was slow, and then this one came and it's equally slow, if not slower.
It's kind of disappointing because the dialogue, the cinematography, even the writing is still great. It's just I feel like everything is moving at such a snail's pace where I'm just wanting something to happen.
Talk about cinematography. The way they depicted what's the dragon's name?
Sea Smoke?
Sea Smoke?
Are you talking about Laner's dragon
Yes.
from
Yeah.
that's Sea Smoke?
Okay, cool. Talking about cinematography, the way they depicted sea smoke was incredible. I loved those visuals.
So I'm going to pause you right there just so our listeners, this is going to be a spoiler review. So anything that we say in this episode is going to bring up everything we've seen thus far. So just want to make sure that's clear. But agreed. Sea Smoke looked amazing. In that episode where he was claiming, what was the guy's name? Corliss's son?
Right. So Corlys has two sons, right? Alan of
Yeah,
Hill
Alan
and
and
Adam
Adam.
of Hill.
Adam. Yeah, that was
Yeah, sea
amazing.
smoke is such a boss. He's like, nah, no one is gonna claim me. I'm gonna go claim a human myself. Loved it.
Yeah, because so we do see show in the beginning of the episode is Rhaenyra is basically talking to a small council, explaining what her and Jason's plan are is to find a suitable rider for the three dragons hosted on Dragonstone, and they pick a King's Guard who is eager enough to approach the dragon, but gets completely decimated.
Yeah, so the thought was actually pretty good. I think his name was Stefan Darklin, and apparently
Darkly,
they're the
yes.
closest to the Targaryens lineage wise.
I think they
So
said his
they
great great grandma was a Targaryen. Is that correct?
right, exactly. So it definitely made sense, and there were moments where you thought it might happen. We all kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. Sir Stefan was going to get annihilated. Unfortunately, that death scene was horrible. You just see him writhing in pain because of the fire.
I gotta say though, it's a pretty honorable and brave thing to do, especially when you know these beasts are as dangerous and as unruly as possible. But I gotta give props to him. I would have shat myself and ran.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him, right? That scene with Sea Smoke, I think that capitalized like one of my most favorite looking dragons. I thought the way it was depicted was so good. Major, but it looked so close to Drogon, right? From Game of Thrones. Do you think they
It
just used
did.
the same assets just to make it look even better?
So funny thing is people online on Twitter, on Reddit, they all are saying, "Oh, looks like Drogon's actor got a new role." But no, it looks like Drogon, but with a more, I guess, slimmer cut and smaller stature than Drogon was. But no, I definitely think like the CGI and the visual effects on him was fantastic. I mean, every dragon we've seen this season has been amazing, but
Yeah. Talking
that's
about
about the.
dragons, Caraxes, bro. I think that has to be my favorite dragon. I love the long neck. So what's Caraxes up to?
Oh, he's just chilling in Harrenhal. He's like, Master, like, let's leave the shithole. Like, let's do something.
Do you remember
I
how
think he
excited
speaks
he
for the
got?
fans.
Yeah, do you remember how excited he got when he thought Daemon was coming to him? He kind of like perked his head up. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's go."
He's like,
And
finally, we
then
can leave
and
this
then
hellhole.
happened.
No, I mean, now that we're onto the topic of Harrenhal, I gotta say, those scenes are putting me to sleep. I know last episode I said I enjoyed them, but I'm with you now. Now I'm just like, okay, let's wrap this up.
Dude, they should have been done like 2 episodes ago. It's dragging on so much, and what I don't like about the pacing of the show is the showrunners literally came out saying that the audience doesn't have good attention span and we're too focused on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Dude, if majority of the fan base is like, you need to start wrapping up some of the stuff because it's dragging and these we're actually distancing ourselves from these characters. Like I love Damon in season one. I don't know if I love him anymore. He's kind of boring the crap out of me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy what they're doing with the character, but I'm with you. It should have been wrapped up within at least 2 to 3 episodes. If anything, by episode five, last episode, it all should have been wrapped up by, because
Yeah,
it's showing
and
his
if
inner
we don't
psyche.
see Daemon for like an episode or two, I'm cool with that as long as that arc is done, like it's concluded in a sense.
Yeah, like they set up what the arc is about. It's him fighting his inner demons and trying to either overcome them or succumb to them. So we know what he's doing. We don't need every episode 18 scenes of him doing it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
like a Groundhog's Day. It's just the same thing over and over again. And at this point, it's just like, come on, guys, let's get to the point.
At this point, I feel like it's just a way for the showrunners and the writers to bring back fan favorite characters like the younger Rhaenyra's, Daemon's second wife, the Valerian, or his brother. Which, don't get me wrong, I love seeing those callbacks, but it's dragging. It's something I gotta pick up here soon, and we only have 2 episodes left. This is a shorter season, 8 episodes.
Yeah, that made me nervous of the 8 episodes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it
Didn't,
gave me
didn't feel right.
flashbacks of season 8, Game of Thrones, season
Yep.
7, Game of Thrones. Yeah, which is not something you want to ever reference or.
Let's change gears to the green side of this. I don't like this character, Larry Strong, though there was a really nice scene with him and Aegon.
Oh yeah,
That scene where he comes and tells Aegon, people are gonna laugh at you, people are gonna think you're weak. You're gonna have to use that as your strength. Like
it
I'm
reminds
I'm
me.
enjoying that.
Yeah, it reminds me so much of season one Tyrion when Tyrion was talking to Bran or Tyrion was talking to Jon Snow. Like, you're a bastard or you're a cripple. Like, people are going to use that against you, but you got to sharpen your brain. You got to be able to out manipulate them, out talk them, because that's your only weapon to survive the world we live in. And it's basically the same thing Larys told the broken Aegon, and it was so powerful, especially since we never understood why Larys is the way he is. Now we get a little more understanding of his character.
I definitely agree. And yeah, so something interesting about that conversation, right? It kind of felt that there was a witch who potentially put a curse on his
Hmm.
leg. What are we feeling about that?
So yeah, I will say that is still my favorite new character of the season, and we've had a good few new characters, but I'm enjoying Alice Rivers, even though she's part of the Harrenhal storyline, which is going nowhere. She is such an interesting and unique character in this world, and she's eating it up. Every episode scene she's in, I'm like, I want more of her. No more Damon.
You know what? So the scene I really liked about Alice Rivers is when she tells Damon to not go, and she kind of like looks up, kind of like she's looking at the stars or some shit, and she's like, "In 3 days, you're gonna get what you want." Thinking like, oh, maybe she has a connection to the gods and stuff. Nah, this girl just went over and killed her granddad for the Tullys, which is
Yeah, because
hilarious.
she's a maester and she's also is basically a self-proclaimed witch, and yeah, she goes to the Tullys, and then within the 3 days that she's there, she basically poisons the dying, ailing Grover Tully, and I was like, I kind of wish we actually saw that and not Damon whole nonsense. But no, she's very interesting, and it's very weird of a character because when we first saw her, she did say, "I'm just a barn owl," and then this episode we see her calling a barn owl who like approaches her, and there's so much going on with this character. I don't know what she is. Is she a green seer? Is she basically being controlled by the three-eye raven? Who is she?
Or is she just a con artist?
Hey, you know what? That could be it too. She follows like Harrenhal is already cursed as it is. Let me just go monopolize on this to make money. And
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. So this whole episode, you get to see the change in Daenerys, right?
yeah,
She's now starting to use slightly more cunning methods with the help of Mysaria. I think that's her name.
yes, yes, the White
Yeah,
Worm. Hmm.
right. So Mysaria and Rhaenyra have this plan. What did you think of it?
Oh, it was brilliant. That was a brilliant plan. Basically, what she did is she opened up the blockage that Corlys's Valerian's ships are blocking the food transfer to the city of King's Landing, and she opened it up where she sent a handful of food and meat and veggies and fruits to King's Landing to the citizens, basically under the name of Queen Rhaenyra, and it created a small, pretty substantial chaos in the city, and not uprising, but a good protest against Queen Alicent and her daughter, which was probably the highlight of the episode.
Yeah, I really felt bad for Helena because every time she's gone out, poor girl has gotten attacked or like traumatized for no reason.
She's such
She
a
doesn't
great,
deserve it.
she's such a wholesome character. I'm like, can we stop? Like, can we stop messing with this person? Oh, I feel so bad for her, but no, 100% I agree. It, I
Yeah.
felt bad. It was just sad.
And I am more interested to see how this war progresses because at this point, if King's Landing is not even safe for the royal family, where are they gonna go? What they gonna do? I really like the title Smallfolk because without the Smallfolk, they ain't got shit.
No, no, and that's also the title of Small Folks, like we mentioned earlier, with Adam claiming a dragon who is technically a small folk. We also see Alan, his brother, as a small folk, is now, by the order of Cordless, is now going to be his right hand man on their ship, and he's about to ship out to war. So I like seeing all these small folks and how they're being thrown into positions that they don't even want to be in and that uncomfortable with. But unfortunately, this is a time of war, and people use the small folks in war, and it's kind of sad to see these people just want to live their lives. They don't want to be wrapped up.
Yeah, and it starts off with the death of a Smallfolk, right? With Stefan Darklin. So I think it does also go to show that there will be collateral damage, especially
Hmm.
when you're Smallfolk.
Yeah. And we keep flashing back to the guy who claims to be a Targaryen bastard in King's Landing, and we kind of follow him this episode a little bit too as a small folk, and we just see how all they have to eat now is just fish, fish, fish. Just all they can do is just fish from the nearby seas and crabs. And the small folks are just getting restless, tired. To talk about how the Queen of Alicent and the Greens are basically hosting banquets and feast up in King's Landing in the castle, and it doesn't, doesn't portray a great light on these people to the small folks.
I know. I like those little seeds of discontent that they placed earlier before giving them the food. Very
Exactly.
strategic and very nicely done.
Hmm.
Um, who's been your favorite character of this episode of the season?
Yeah, I would probably say my favorite character of this episode is probably going to be. I might have to give to Adam just because he did conquer a dragon, or the dragon conquered him, I should
The
say.
dragon conquered him. Yeah.
Yeah, but my favorite character of the season, I mentioned earlier, is Alice Rivers, just because she's
Okay.
one of the most unique characters we've gotten in the show and in the universe itself. And she kind of reminds me of Melisandre, who's one of my favorite characters of the main show.
Interesting. My favorite character has been the dog, the Ratcatcher's dog. And I get scared every time they show him because I'm like, oh shit, are the top people gonna eat him because they don't have any meat or anything? So yeah,
But
he's
then
been my favorite character.
my man is so skinny, I don't think he has any meat for them to eat, so that's a good sign
I
for
know, I
him.
feel
But
so bad.
he's such a cute dog, and
I know. He's a
yeah,
good
and
boy.
he's too pure. He's too pure for King's Landing. Who has been your favorite character this episode?
Okay, yeah, this is good. If you guys have been watching us, you know I'm definitely Team Green. Sorry, Team Black.
Hey, Team Green,
Yeah,
finally.
AK is definitely Team Green. But I liked Lara Strong this episode. I
Interesting. Okay.
think he is the one character that I feel is finally amplifying his position a bit after the humiliation that he faced at the small court. So
Yeah, no, that's perfect. No, I agree. He definitely had a lot more character development this episode than any episode so far. What are you hoping the last two episodes, like what are you hoping comes out of the last two episodes?
yeah, that's a good question. And I don't need a war or a battle. I'm definitely okay with more of these plans, strategies actually coming to fruition. I kind of want to see instead of just hearing people talk about stuff.
Hmm.
And also, I want to see maybe a how to train your dragon kind of segment on how Rhaenyra maybe teaches Adam how to control the dragon, teaching him about the lore of the Targaryens. Like, I think they can do more of that. I think I'll
Hmm.
be happy. What
So
about you?
one thing one thing I will say is I feel bad for Corlys, even though I feel bad for the kids more than him in this case. But he's been trying to keep them secret and hidden just because he didn't want them to be, he want everyone to know that he was unfaithful. So I feel like this is going to come out next episode. It's going to be known because how else is he going to explain the dragon connection? So that's what I'm really curious to see the backlash. I want to see how is that going to affect Alan, who's now going to be his right hand man, and how is this going to affect Carlos as a character? Is this going to make him go like more angry because he's already been a very angry guy. His wife died. his daughter, his son died. I wonder how this is going to be, or is he going to be more approachable, more respectful, more honest about his wrongdoings? So I want to see how he's going to handle the fact that his bastard son is now a dragon rider.
Yeah, that's a really good take, and it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. Um,
But
any
knowing this
lasting
show, it's going to
thoughts?
be yeah. Knowing this show, next episode is going to be Corliss is he told me what happened, and okay, next scene, let's go back to Daemon. No, no. Um, I mean, like I said, I know I said last episode, but this is the weakest episode of the season, and I'm hoping next episode brings back the heat that we know this show can produce.
For sure. Overall, I did not like this episode. They could have condensed a lot more things, merged it with episode 5, and we should have had a much better episode 6. Um,
Agreed, agreed. I mean, we have 2 episodes left, so let's hope it ends on a high note. But I think that's all I have to say here. What about you, Jay? Any last thoughts?
yeah, no, please like, subscribe. Definitely let us know what you guys think about this episode. Also, keep following us. We're going to be doing Deadpool on probably this week, end of
Most,
this
I think
week.
Friday, Saturday, we should be releasing a spoiler and non-spoiler review. Cannot wait for that. That looks amazing, but you gotta subscribe to see these videos.
All right, guys. Peace.
See y'all.